What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3 and Out YouTube page. I'm John Middlekauff, and we are talking football all day, every day. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends. Let's roll, baby. Okay, breaking news. Devastating. J.J. McCarthy out for the year. Torn meniscus, needs a complete repair. Adios to 2024 for JJ, the Vikings, and it's just devastating. There's no way to sugarcoat this. There really isn't, right? Even if he, in a perfect world, was never going to play a regular season snap, maybe some garbage time and blowout wins, but he was never going to be the starter all year. We'll get into Sam Darnold here in a second. This sucks for him because the only way to get better at football is to play football. And while the sport is two-pronged, it's in the classroom, the meeting rooms, and on the field, not being able to practice is a big setback because the way to improve is on the practice field when you're not the starter. That's how guys all over the league make jumps, even though you don't see them play. And then a couple years later, you're like, where'd this guy come from? He improves in practice. And Patrick Mahomes a couple years ago did not start till the last game of the year. But all we heard was, God, this guy in practice, this guy's making strides, and this is a blow. And listen, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to derail his career, but it's a big setback. And it sucks. There's nothing you can do to prevent this, but there is an element. I'm a believer in karma, not a believer in curses. I don't believe in curses, but I do understand where Vikings fans go. I remember when Teddy Bridgewater had that devastating knee injury in training camp. Obviously, that sent his career on a tailspin. Last year, after a slow start, the Vikings were coming on. Cousins was balling. He had just lit up the 49ers like a Christmas tree. Achilles torn. And then all off seasons, like the Vikings want J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings want J.J. McCarthy. They didn't even need to package their picks. They get them. They're like, hey, this is going to be awesome. Then in his first preseason game, he's looking down the gun barrel, getting lit up, throwing dimes, threw a nice touchdown pass. You're like, God, he's got some talent there. Then he's out for the year. And this is the shitty part about this sport. I don't care if it's in games, in the preseason, in practice, in off-season workouts. A snap of a finger, a knee can go, an Achilles can go, a shoulder can go, a clavicle can break. I mean, it sucks. It's by far the worst part of the sport. Now, good thing about this, and Florio wrote about this earlier, even if they didn't need to do the full-on surgery, it just needed a cleanup, it eventually would have needed it. So this is the right move when there is a problem. You don't want to have to go back in a couple months later. Didn't go to medical school, but have been following sports long enough to know big picture that obviously it's the right medical move for the young guy in the Vikings and the franchise. But I think when you look to 2025, unless Sam Darnold leads the Vikings to the Super Bowl, wins the MVP, J.J. McCarthy is going to be their quarterback. I mean, their plan was to go Patrick Mahomes, sit him for the year, develop him, feel comfortable, maybe get him some playing time here and there. But if there are no injuries and the team is just semi-competitive, he's going to sit. And now you have to play him next year because this rookie contract is the huge benefit for the team. The whole thing this offseason, they wanted to reset their books. They wanted to get rid of Cousins' big number. And now you're going to play a guy who's coming off an injury and didn't get to practice all season long. So big blow for the Vikings. There's just no way around it. I don't care who tries to spin what. This is not sunshines and rainbows. This sucks. Now, who it doesn't suck for is in this situation when you're Sam Darnold, even if you have a bad game, you have no equity with the fan base. You have no equity with the franchise. That if they did want to go a quick hook or go to the backup who they just drafted high, they would not hesitate doing that. I don't care what they say. No one's going to want to watch Sam Darnold struggle. Well, it's the NFL. You're going to have rough games. Now he gets an open landing strip to play 17 games and prove his worth in the NFL. And the more and more I think about it, Dak Prescott could throw 20 picks. He's getting a huge amount of money this offseason, whether it's from the Cowboys or some other team. His resume speaks for itself. Like, he has nothing on the line this year except legacy and sports talk radio hosts talking about him. But from financially, like, pretty well established. He's getting paid. Sam Darnold, I talked about this yesterday on the podcast. Most guys don't get a second shot. I talked about the 2021 draft class. Zach Wilson will never be a starting quarterback or named a starting quarterback ever again. Trey Lance can't even be a second string in the NFL. Justin Fields, we're like, oh, we're high on him. I was too. I'm guilty. And then you watch him play, you're like, Mac Jones, lifetime backup. It's the way it works. The quarterbacks coming in every year, you get Wally pipped quick. They're not even getting Wally pipped. They just weren't even good. Sam Darnold was not good early. Clearly, he was not handed the easiest of circumstances when it comes to Adam Gase, who no one has any clue where he is now, and Matt Rule, who's a college coach. Then Kyle Shanahan threw him a lifeline. And then Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi were like, we want you to be the bridge quarterback, which can be challenging if there is a highly touted guy behind you who they just drafted. And that's what the Vikings did. Well, now because of this injury, he's not even available. So Sam never has to look over his shoulder. If he has a game where he plays shitty, chalk it up to it's the NFL. But over the course of the season, I just saw his odds for comeback player of the year skyrocket. He has a lot on the line. He's a guy who can establish himself. I'm just a backup too, like those other cats. That's all I am. But he's 25 years old. And all of a sudden you throw 26 touchdowns, you throw 10 picks, you prove you can be a competitive starter. We know what that pays. Average guys get $35 million. So you'd be looking at a $100 million contract. Baker Mayfield was a joke. People were laughing at him. I'm probably guilty of that too. And then he goes to Tampa for less than $5 million. Replaces the GOAT. Leads him to the playoff, wins a playoff game. Honestly, could have won another playoff game against the Lions. Signs a $100 million contract. That's how quick it happens. We say this league stands for not for long. It's true. But things from a positive standpoint also flip the other way. If you can prove you can play, boom, you're back in the mix. Especially at the position that gives GMs heart attacks. A position that no one can really find. A position, even when you draft high, most of the guys can't play. So this guy, highly drafted guy, saw the lowest of the lows, now gets an incredible second chance. A second chance to make a boatload of money and prove he's a starting quarterback. Because here's the other thing. Starting quarterbacks don't hit the free agency market. That's why Cousins is such an outlier. It's why I'll believe Dak's on the free agent market when I see it. It might happen. It easily could not happen. Because guys of that ilk never hit it. Obviously, young players who prove anything. Tua, here's $200 million. Jordan Love, 8 games, $75 million signing bonus. I mean, that's how fast it happens. Because once I feel comfortable, I got a starting quarterback, here's the money. And Sam Darnold's got 17 games to prove to everybody, you know what, guys, I can play. Adam Gase, Jets, dysfunctional disaster. Matt Rule has a whistle on Saturdays. Give me Kyle Shanahan, give me Kevin O'Connell. I'll show you what I got. And you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, after he gets suspended from this Dewey. Got Aaron Jones, you got a head coach who's the offensive play caller. Lot going for you. No more excuses. No more excuses. This is a lot on the line for that dude.